Shores. Bo Smith is going to lead us with the invocation.
The greatest form of worship is how we live our life. And one of the things that we learn from the Bible in Genesis chapter 2 is that God gave Adam, the very first man, the responsibility of taking care of this earth. That is a wonderful way to worship our Creator, is by taking care of what He's given us. And so I want to commend you, for those of you who put this together. I want to pray a blessing for you. So let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we come to you, and we are so grateful for your love for us. We're so thankful for this community that we live in. What unbelievable beauty you have called us to not only live in, but take care of. I pray, Father, that you would just pour out your blessings upon these that are involved in this, and Lord, that you would call us all to this, and Lord, that you would bless every part of it. And Lord, I just want to say thank you for loving us, and it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Bo. Well, welcome again to everybody to beautiful Gulf Shores and the Oyster House here as we celebrate what I consider to be an important first step forward. I'm going to share with you real quickly, and I'll be brief, I promise, but what I think we learned or should have learned from the oil spill. And when the oil spill happened and you could not fish in the waters, eat the seafood, or enjoy the environment, what happened then? Nobody came. And if we're paying attention, it's not, people don't come here because they like the mayor or they like just Gulf Shores. They come here because of the environment, because when it couldn't be used, it wasn't enjoyed and people didn't come. So if you connect those dots, then what's probably the most important thing we need to do to maintain the quality of life in our community that is so special, and that is protect the environment. And this is a major step, and part of the environment is having oysters that we all enjoy eating and enjoying. And our challenge here in this recycling of oyster shells is to recreate the reefs and grow more oysters. So that is what this kicks us off being able to do. And we're delighted to have a local leader step up with the Oyster House and Joe and his crowd here to be able to start this program that I anticipate others will follow. So that's what we're here today to do. And Joe, you going to say a few words?
I'll read from my cheat sheet here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out on this beautiful day. And we just thank our Lord for this beautiful sunshine and how blessed we are to live here in Baldwin County. Thank you both for that beautiful prayer this morning. Original Oyster House, we serve lots of oysters. As a matter of fact, we serve about 5,000 pounds a week in the summertime, which is quite a few shells. We know the benefits of oyster. We know the benefits of oysters bring to the community. As sponsor of the Oyster Trail and Mobile's Oyster Gardening Program, we learn how oysters impact our environment, our economics, and of course our health. For years, these dedicated scientists and environmentalists and educators have worked to get oyster shells back in the water. We were so grateful to be given the opportunity to pilot Alabama's first oyster shell recycling program in October at our Mobile Causeway location. And we had a much smaller crowd, incidentally. The program aligns with our core values of stewardship, and it will enhance the oyster population and will help prevent coastal erosion, among other incredible riches. But best of all, this program will bring attention to how important it is to get the shells back to the reef rather than the landfill. Let's welcome the group that spearheaded this program, the director of the Alabama Coastal Foundation, Mark Birdie. Before I do that, I just wanted to quickly recommend Drew and Steve with Royal Cup. They were so gracious in supplying the coffee and being here with us this morning. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Mark, it's all yours, man. Congratulations. Great job, man.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you very much, Mayor, for welcoming us here on this very beautiful day here in Gulf Shores to do the ribbon cutting for our oyster shell recycling program. The original Oyster House has been at the table, a part of this advisory council, and we appreciate Cecilia and Joe and David, everybody really for making this such a great start to the program. The Alabama Coastal Foundation, our whole mission is to improve and protect Alabama's coastal environment through cooperation, education, and participation, and this program does all of the above. Cooperation, we work with different restaurants to try to educate them about what they thought was trash is actually a very valuable natural resource, and the more shells that we collect, the more shells we can get back into the water that will allow more oysters to grow, and not a very nice positive cycle. So this is a grant that we wrote a year ago for the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, their Gulf Coast Conservation Grants Program. There's not BP money for this particular program, but we are very glad from NIFWIF to be able to get this program started. And it's a twofold focus. Not only do we help educate restaurants and get the program off the ground, but the second part of the grant is to make it sustainable so that when it's done in May of 2018, that the program continues on for the rest of the time. People have been talking about this for decades, and Alabama Coastal Foundation is just very glad to be partnering with the city and with the all the different restaurants to make it happen. One of our other partners, Kevin Anson, will be coming up and telling you a little bit about the science and about the process. And then we have Ed Rodriguez with the Chamber who will say a few words, and then I'll ask questions, and we are going to do a ribbon cutting right at the end. Where is Kevin? Serious. I can see the hand in the back here. So I've never done a press conference on an angle before. This is kind of nice back there. So.
Sorry for getting caught in the back there. I'm here with the Marine Resources Division. Chris Blankenship, the director, was supposed to come today. Unfortunately, he was called to Montgomery by the boss, and so he asked me to fill in his place. We're also excited about this program. As was mentioned earlier by Mayor Kraft and Mark, we look for oyster shells. Oyster shells are important to put back into the system, put back onto the reef. Oysters, the lowly oyster used to be called, is not so lowly anymore. It provides many ecosystem services for the reef. It provides obviously places for baby oysters to settle. They start out as floating larvae, and they have about 2 weeks, depending upon water temperatures, to settle out, find a hard place on the bottom. If they don't find that hard place right around 2 weeks, they won't survive. So getting as much material out in the water is critical for them to sustain themselves. In the last decade in Alabama, we've seen about a third of our oyster reefs disappear through a variety of reasons, environmental and hurricanes and such. So we're excited certainly to be a part of this program. These oysters, as they're picked up from various locations throughout here, coastal Alabama, will be taken to our facility here in Gulf Shores. And they'll cure, or if there's any chefs in the audience, a little key term is they'll season, as we like to call them, for about 6 months, and then those oyster shells will make their way onto coastal reefs here in Alabama. So once again, we're excited to be a part of this program and look forward to the opportunity to get more oyster culture material, more material to put back out on the reefs, and try to get our oyster reefs back up to where they were. So thank you.
It's Chandra.
Was it Chandra?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chandra. Sorry, you're first.
Where's Chandra? There you go.
Sorry.
It's like I got caught by two.
Good morning. So I'm Kendra Ryan. I'm the Nature Tourism Specialist for Mississippi Alabama Sea Grant Consortium and Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Tourism. And I have the privilege of serving on the Advisory Council for the Oyster Shell Recycling Program. So I get to share with you the exciting news that since we started the program in October of 2016 with the original Oyster House's restaurant on the Causeway, so we've been collecting shells now for about 12 weeks, slowly adding restaurants to the program. We have now collected, as of last week, 650,000 oyster shells, which translates to about 11 dump trucks loads full of oyster shells. So that will cover about 2.3 acres of reef. So that's good news. And then we kicked off the program yesterday on the other end of the island at the Floribama Yacht Club. And I got a call last night that they already filled up all their containers. So I think they're going to need a few more. So we're excited that this program is now officially underway in Gulf Shores. And we look forward to adding more restaurants in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach over the next few months. Thanks.
Ed, this is your, okay. We'll get the hook thing.
Well, there's nothing to add here because Mayor Kraft nailed it when he talked about the importance of our environment. There really is nothing to add. And Mayor, you've said it many times at some of our meetings, our number one economic resource is our number one environmental resource. They are one and the same here. So on behalf of our chairman, Todd Edwards, who couldn't be here, although we do have our immediate past chairman, Jenny Barnes, in attendance, we want to thank all of you for being here and thank all of you for helping and everything you do to increase the awareness of the need to sustain this incredible environment we have in our community. And I especially want to shout out to our ambassadors, because when I looked around the crowd, probably half of the crowd here is chamber ambassadors. So if you're an ambassador, make some noise. Thank you.
Yeah, questions? Yeah. Mark, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Hey, Mark, point to the thing. It shows it.
What?
The sign. It shows how it works.
Yes, the sign, this process is right there, and we have handouts. Catherine Kuhn from the Alabama Coastal Foundation's at the table down here. Any questions from the media or for the audience?
How many restaurants are now participating?
As of today, we now have 16 restaurants participating. We just front-loaded or back-loaded those 9 restaurants, including the original Oyster House right here in Gulf Shores. Yes, Joe.
Partners in Mississippi, Louisiana. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So the grant itself, we called around to different other places. The program in New Orleans is what we modeled our program off of. But there are about 15 programs around the country that really do this type of thing. We've been talking about it for again, decades, but we're just very fortunate to learn from them, and now they're learning from us in terms of, they said, oh, it'll take you about a year to get off the ground. We got the grant in August, and so we started in October, and it was because we had wonderful partner relationships built already. Our whole philosophy is inclusive environmental stewardships, and ACF, that's what we're known for. And if you're just getting to know ACF, and then you'll get to see that as well. We will try to work with you as long as you fit within our mission statement. We'll work hand in hand with you. Yes.
Can you give me an estimate of what you think is going to happen in 2017?
So if I had a crystal ball and said by the end of this year, how many restaurants, we're going to add on about 15 more this summer or by this summer. I'm guessing we'll have like over 7 million oysters collected. And I just tried to do a different calculation than the dump truck. That'll be like I don't know, 20 or so elephants. So it's a lot. We'll definitely have about 7 acres worth of shells out there for the first year, and we'll continue to do that. Our grant said 5 acres at least, and we'll double that number the following year. Other questions? Because we do have some great food inside and some great food over here. And again, thank you to Royal Cup for providing the coffee. Thank you, Mayor, for being here and always doing the right thing for the environment, which is tied to our economy. Thank you all to the advisory council members and everybody who showed out today. This is a great way to start the program and a beautiful day nonetheless. So, any last call for questions? Yes, ma'am.
At the visitor center the other day, whoever spoke about the program, and that's how we found out. She mentioned already you have heard from restaurants in Nashville and Birmingham.
So
Getting the word out far north.
So the question is, you heard from our public engagement coordinator, Beth Walton, who spoke to the Snowbird group earlier. She said that we've already gotten calls from not only Auburn, Montgomery, Birmingham, from restaurants who want to participate, but also up in Nashville. So we're trying to figure that out. That'll be year 2 of the grant. We're still getting year 1 off the ground. But there are ways that we could think about, you want to make sure that the ecological cost of getting those shells back down here does not outweigh the benefits of that. And so that's what we're trying to figure that out. And a part of the grant is to get the more restaurants we add, the better the economies of scale to participate in the program to get it down so that it's a win-win for all the restaurants. Yes, ma'am.
It was mentioned that in 18 the grant ends and hope to be self-sustaining. How's that going to work financially?
So that is literally the second half of the grant. Is we have good people, Joe McInerney, who's our coastal relations coordinator. he went to college with the mayor here, so but he's a good business-minded individual, and he's helping us work that out. Plus our advisory council, and we have a Green Coast Council that are helping us to do the financials. Again, the more restaurants we add, the lower the cost it is. And Republic Services is the vendor that we do to just collection Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So the benefit, they have to, every restaurant that participates in this program has to become a Green Coast Council member, which is one of the differences from the New Orleans program. We're getting them to put some skin in the game at the front every year. But the additional cost, some restaurants will see some cost savings from their not taking out as much trash. So that balance, the difference between there, we're trying to get that as low as possible, so that the restaurants want to participate. And then the customers themselves, they want to support businesses that are doing the right thing for the environment, so that they'll be voting with their dollars as well. Exactly. Yes, sir.
Once the oysters are ready to harvest, who will harvest?
All right, so that's a Kevin question. Who's going to harvest them when the oysters are ready? That's a whole different process. But our shells are getting out there on the oyster reefs, and then the rest of the system. You want to come up? The rest of the system is going to run just like normal.
So where we propose to put these oysters are on our commercially productive reefs, and so we have a licensed commercial oyster fishermen that go out there and they'll harvest legal size oysters, and that's part of our responsibility is management of our marine resources, and oysters is one of them. So we have an enforcement presence during the harvest period, and they'll go out and harvest them. It'll take once a small oyster settles on an oyster shell or some other hard substrate, it takes about 18 to 24 months before it reaches legal size. So that's kind of the process. So they'll go actually and use tongs, like long rakes, and go down and use the tongs against each other to pull up humps of oysters, and then they grade them on the boat, then bring them back, and then take them to the seafood shops.
All right, we're actually doing good on time. Any other last questions? Oh, yes, ma'am. Is there a chance to volunteer? Our program is set up to be able to contract with the Republic Services, so we don't have volunteer opportunities for that way, but there are definitely roles for volunteers. Part of our grant is to educate people about restaurants that are not participating. You can go into those restaurants and say, hey, have you thought about it? If they're selling oysters on the half shell, you thought about joining this program. Another one is to support the businesses that are already doing the right thing, order as many oysters and enjoy as many oysters as you can, because the more that happens, the more we get them. But then specifically, if you go to joinacf.org and volunteer your time in any one of our education programs, we do sea oat plantings, we do seagrass education. There are lots of ways to volunteer your time, and a part of that is the in-kind match that we get. So the more hours you donate to the Coastal Foundation, the more the benefit the program happens. So, great questions. Last one here, Tim.
I have no question. I just wanted to say something real quick. I just wanted to take a minute to recognize Cecilia Mace, who's our marketing director. I know she didn't want me to do this, but thank you, Cecilia, for working with the Chamber and with the ACF and everybody else involved in meeting giving us here. Thank you so much. Okay. One other thing I just realized, ACF is also an acronym for the American Culinary Federation. So, no coincidences. Thank you.
All right, and then Cecilia said, make sure you tell them about the specials after the press conference. So y'all walk right in afterwards and support this business. So, all right, we are going to do the ribbon cutting for all the advisory council members. So if the media, let's let them move down. I'm not sure if we're going to have enough space, so somebody who's smarter than me to figure all that out. But we want to get everybody who's doing the ribbon cutting. Thank y'all again very much for coming. For coming this evening, this morning. Where am I? We actually, the ribbon, y'all should take a look at it. The ribbon actually has little oyster shells on it. So y'all make your way. Thanks again.